You know what? I thought about it, and I think that maybe what I should do before we move on to outputs is actually just look at how we define these variables here and some of the additional options. So here we have variable instance type, and we specified it as a string. Of course, there are different types, but there's a few other things that we can do. We can provide it a description. Okay. So we'll say the size of the instance. I've never really noticed where the descriptions show up. I'm assuming that if you were to run this without any kind of like Terraform bars or anything, so what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and delete this file here and delete the auto file here. And I think that if we were to run it, the prompt would show up there. So I'll just clear that out. I just want to see where it shows up. Yeah, so it shows the description there, okay? There are some other options. So I believe we can do sensitive. I think it's just sensitive true. Here, yep. So we can do sensitive. I'm not the best at spelling, so I'm just going to put that off screen so I can see what I'm doing. And we'll say true. And what that should do is it should obscure the actual value here. So if I type in t2.micro and hit enter, it should obscure it in the plan. If we scroll up here. So notice it's sensitive. So when you're inputting, it doesn't hide it. I'm actually kind of surprised that they don't kind of blank that out as you're typing it in. But this is the only place that it's going to hide it. And the thing that you need to understand is that just because it's there does not mean it's going to be hidden in the Terraform state file. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and deploy this, because I just want to show you that it's visible in the Terraform state file. So we'll say t2 micro here. And I believe it's already created the state file. Nope, it's still empty, so I'll have to wait a little bit. But while that is going on, we'll look at something else like validation. I don't really play with validation much, but I'm sure we can figure it out in 2 seconds. So validation just makes sure that the input is as you expect it to be. So if we go here, and we need to give it a condition. And so can is a built-in function, so I assume it's going to just be true or false. We probably should go look that up. So we go look built-in functions, Terraform, can. Choose right here. So can evaluates the given expression, returns a Boolean indicating whether the expression produced results without errors. Okay, so that sounds pretty good to me. So we'll go back over here to our file here. And so we have can, and in the input variables we have regex, and that's probably what I'll use here just to make things a little bit easier. And so what I want to do is I want this to be a T2. Or we even say T3 here. So regex expects this to be a T3. And I don't need the second parameter here, so I can just take that out and make this a period here. T3 is just another line of AWS instances. The instance must be a T3 type EC2 instance. Okay, and so notice this finished, and we were seeing if the sensitive would show the size of the instance within the file here, or would it be sensitive? So we'll say instance type. And so notice that sensitive does not obscure it in the Terraform state file. I'm going to go ahead and just destroy that. So we'll say Terraform. Actually, we don't have to do that just yet. Let's go ahead and actually test our validation here and see if we got it right. So what I'm going to do is just do Terraform plan again. And I'm going to take out the sensitive option here. Terraform plan. And so the condition for the variable must refer to var instance type in order for the incoming tests. So I guess we do have to specify a second parameter here. The condition for the variable instance type must refer to var instance type. Okay. So I think it just probably wants it as the second parameter. Because we did see that a moment ago, right? You would think that it would just like infer it because it's already there, eh? The validation error message must be at least one full sentence starting with an uppercase letter ending with a period. Wow. Grammar police. Your given message will be included as part of the larger Terraform error message written as English prose. I guess like if you're publishing your module, that they want you to do it properly, right? So I guess that's a good way of enforcing good practices there. And so I'm going to try T2 micro, and I'm hoping that my validation works. And it's here it says that it must be a T3 type, and so that's where that error is working. So we're all done here. I'm just going to go ahead and do a Terraform destroy. Or actually, I'll do it apply because I just like it to happen right away. So we'll say destroy, auto approve. Okay. And we'll go off screen here. And I'm just checking if there's anything else of interest. That's pretty much it for the variables. So we'll move on to the, actually, you know what? I want to keep this instance up and running because we're going to use it for outputs, okay? So I think that's all good for now. I'm going to just switch this over to T2 so that it stops complaining. Okay, and we'll look at the output CLI.